Oh, I got some little feedback here which I'm going to try and solve and close down some of the stuff that needs to be closed down. And somehow I'm getting feedback from this guy over here. Now what's happening? Let's see. Anyway, let's just proceed. Today I've got some really actually kind of shocking news. The situation in the American medical system, as you know, is like we got like, hang on a moment, I just need to see if I can get myself. I'm getting feedback from my live handbag. One moment. I think we need to just close this down. Okay, let's go back to this page. Sorry about this, folks. Technical issues. Hey, Lindy in the background, say hello to everybody. Lindy's part of the production crew here and a real familiar person with the technology that I'm going to be introducing later. And Dahl, thank you for being here too and helping me technically with this. It's been a challenge, as you know, getting to learn the complexity of putting these hangouts together. And if it wasn't for this team with me, I would be kind of like groping in the dark. And talking about groping in the dark, it's just coming light here in Hawaii. We've got the birds tweeting around us, and it's a beautiful morning. And the sun's coming up. I can see the sunrise now. Beautiful, beautiful red clouds over there. And so let's get back to this. I've got the echo off, and so that's great. And I can see myself. That's even better. And so before I begin my slide presentation, let me see. Next week, what I want to talk about is actually salt. I came across some information just the other day about salt, and it's kind of shocking too. I had no idea about the inorganic nature of salt on the human system. So I want to sort of detail those details next week. In upcoming shows, I will also be talking about the electrical energizers, of course, because they are my passion, but also some of my past history with working with sacred geometry and sound. Whoops, I got a little fly on my nose. And the sound aspect was what actually introduced me to the electrical aspect, because the sound is like the vessel. It's like the holding vessel, and the electrical stuff is about the shooting spark. And together they form this life force energy. So I've been intimately involved in sort of researching and playing with this and healing a lot of people and teaching them how to do it. Just people in pain, just like you. So let's move on to the slideshow here. If you have any questions, please ask them below. I have a lot of videos on YouTube, so if you scroll, or if you go to YouTube and type in Benedict Howard, that's my name, Benedick Howard, and you can find there's a lot of videos on electrical stim work, and there's a few videos. This is kind of ancient. This is like from the 90s on the sound work I was doing, and there's a show that I did in London where it went live before an audience of like 8 million people, and I was talking about I was demonstrating actually the use of the sacred geometry and the sound, the vibrotactile sound, whereby you hear it throughout the body, so you're just feeling it, and you're immersed in this wonderful womb-like state of music. And so the vibrotactile cymatic vibrations you feel going out through all the body, so you get like this movement through the body of the different sound waves. And actually this room here I especially created. It's a yoga studio, but the whole floor of this yoga studio is sound activated too, so I want to bring a show together on that, because it's very important work, very important vibrational healing work and planetary consciousness work that we were doing back then. I trained a lot of facilitators, etc., but more on that in a future show. So I want to go to the slideshow here, and I want to thank Dr. Mercola for putting some of this data together. I had to distill through a lot of stuff, and to make this really hit you hard. The medical system is a killer system, as you know, but I didn't realize that since the 90s, it's got a lot worse. In fact, it's 4.5 times worse than it was 10 years ago. Or was it a little more than that? But it's like unbelievable how these practices, these standard medical practices that were standard in our systems, in our schooling of doctors and everything, have been wiped away, and they put in all of this new stuff without testing it, without really doing anything about it, because it's new, and it's because it's advertised, and the advertisers use advertisements that you see on TV, one after the other are about these drugs, and so it's really tragic. Also, there'll be data on later on. I'm going to introduce you to a special, so stick with me if you're interested in that special. That's great. If you're not, I just want to really, really encourage you to just get these facts, because they are shocking. So I'm going to go to my screen share now, and hopefully I can pick the right screen and get us rolling. Hang with me for a moment. Let's see. I think it's this one. I'm hoping it's this one. Okay. So here we are in Shocking Disclosures, solving your acute and chronic pain, and a whole bunch more, actually. This Hangout is live 9 p.m. on 9 a.m. on Pacific Coast time on Mondays. And we have a daylight savings time change last week, so that won't affect you. We'll still air it on at the same time, and you can grab this show afterwards. I'll be sending you links, and below, if you scroll down the page, there's a comment section down there, so Dal is ready there to see your comments and to let me know what's happening over there. I am having trouble actually seeing them on my screen, but maybe I can do that later. I've got to work out that too, so let's get on with the presentation for today. So are you in pain? Yes or no? I mean also not only, the normal physical pain, but there's also stuff that we can do with these electrical energizers and the sound healing work. But the electrical energizers that I'm talking about today, with emotional and other depression and other things too. So this hangout is for you if you have acute or chronic pain and still have not solved it. And you're considering making a major lifestyle change, but need the motivation and coaching. and you still dream of a life free of pain. Now, hang on a moment. I have the wrong slideshow coming up, so just bear with me. This was the one from last week, and I certainly don't want to repeat that. So let's get back to that right one, hopefully. One moment, please. There we go. That's what happened. Okay, so let's go full screen. Edit, file, view, zoom. Where is it? Full screen, fit width. What have I done with myself here? All confused with this technology. Here we go. So let's scroll through these introduction slides first. So yes, as I was saying, and also if you are ready to make practical, non-invasive lifestyle changes to drastically influence your health to solve your acute and chronic pain. This is what we do with these technologies. It's absolutely unbelievable what we can do. But first off, in the next hour or so, you will learn how the American healthcare system is the leading cause of death, and how self-treatment is the solution for our medical fiasco, and why the U.S. healthcare system is the leading cause of death, why to avoid hospitals is a great medicine, and the fundamental tenets of optimal health I'm going to do a little bit about, like I did last week, because it's so fundamental on nutrition. And like I said, next week will be on salt. It's really shocking. I didn't even know that. And this is the really important part, is the self-empowerment. As you know, if you've been in any of these hangouts, or if you've worked with anybody before in therapy, it really is about getting to know yourself and really empowering yourself to take charge of your life. And it's not only in the medical field, it's also about legal issues, it's also about community, and building community locally. Oh, and the one point that I really want to say, came from a doctor, actually, as these devices are the best medical insurance, and they are literally like a hospital in your own hands. I mean, I don't say this lightly. I've been working with them for over 10 years, and literally I have helped myself so many times, and other people, but, on myself, absolutely unbelievable number of times that I've been in major, major pain, ripped muscles, torn ligaments, stuff like that have been able to heal. Cuts, bruises, you name it, all of that sort of thing. Teeth, teeth that are really, really abscessed. It goes on and on and on, giving what the electrical energy does for the body. So we have an unacceptable reality, a healthcare system that is the leading cause of death. It's basically, well, I mean, it's totally shocking, but it's also the way that the healthcare has been set up, so that we have, on the survey that was from the Archives of Internal Medicine just recently, where 7,300 doctors were surveyed, and nearly half had at least one symptom of burnout. 38% had high emotional exhaustion scores. And, you've got your life in their hands when you go into a hospital. And, basically, what's that? Four people in 10 are emotionally, not there available. And this is even more shocking, is that the 30% of them had high depersonalization scores, which is viewing patients more like objects than human beings. Isn't that sad? And twice the rate of the general population of working adults. Clearly, this is yet another piece of the puzzle as to why the U.S. medical care is so dangerous. And these were quotes from the Archives of Internal Medicine, the data, and comments from Dr. McCullough, too. Came out with a really good article. You might want to read it, but we've got it distilled down for you today, and so let's continue. Now, I have to say this, and my little disclaimer is I'm not a medical professional who gives medical advice. Maybe that's beneficial in the light of what we just seen. And however, I'm an expert on how to solve your acute and chronic pain with these biofeedback electrical energizers, and I've been coaching clients just like you from pain to pain-free for decades, literally. So, in 2011, Health Grades reports the medical harm occurring in the U.S. is over 40,000 harmful and or lethal errors daily. Now, I'm an engineer. My background was in engineering, and to look at that statistic, I mean, if we did that with engineering, designing stuff, it's unconscionable, on an individual basis. But you know what's happened with the corporatization. And according to the latest estimates, 440,000. That's 1.4% of the American population is dying from diagnostic errors, errors of admission, and failure to follow guidelines. And this is the shocking thing. As I mentioned before, that's an increase of 4.5 times since 1999. So for the last 14 years or so, we've seen this increase. Now, how can that be? Well, I don't want to go into that, but it is a fact. Now, these are stats that are being published, and we know from stats that they've been highly manipulated. So these are the ones that are being published. I would hazard a guess that it's probably maybe a lot higher than that. But that's my guess. That's my personal opinion. So we've got conventional medicine, which is focused on diagnostic tests, drugs, and surgical interventions for most ills, kills more people than it saves. Now let's read that again. We've got conventional medicine. So if you go into a hospital, you go into most doctors. That's focused on these diagnostic tests and drugs. These tests and drugs are way higher. There's more being done on drug testing and drug testing on the diagnostic tests, and drugs are oversubscribed or overdone, and that's part of numbing down. It's a big scare tactic, in my opinion, and it's a tragedy. So that's why I was saying right at the beginning, these electrical energizers, I can guarantee you they are like having a hospital in your own hands. Now, I don't own that statement lightly. I came across it back in 2003 or 4, and I went like, what? And you're going to see later why I say this, but I went like, what? How can that be? And all from the power of AA batteries. So here, avoiding a hospital is good medicine. What? How can that be? So talking about the overused tests and treatments on patients cause more harm than good. In 2012, doctors were warned against using 45 tests and procedures and treatments, and this year alone, another 90 have been added to the list, and that's from the American Board of Internal Medicine Foundation. So what's happening here? Why are they pushing these tests? Well, when you look at the money, like on Medicaid for an X-ray, for chest X-ray, I think the cost is like something like $25 that Medicaid gets paid, but the hospital will charge you in the order of 10 times markup on it. So follow the money, folks, and yeah, that's really tragic. So in 10 years, there have been 146 reversals of previously established medical practices. And this is from the Mayo Clinic. So what that means is that established procedures that were 10 years ago, 146 have been changed. They've been reversed. They're not doing them anymore. Procedures that were working. Procedures that actually back in 1999 were, what is that? 4.5 times more effective, have been dropped from the medical practices now. So we got many model, and this is another tragedy. Look at this. This is shocking. Many novel medical treatments gain popularity over older standards of care due to marketing and lobbying by our corporatized system. All those ads on TV. Brainwash, 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 brainwash. And it's basically numbing down. So especially when you get sick, it's hard to make any decisions when you're in, say, major chronic pain. It's hard to be available for your family and loved ones, let alone make, rational, logical, non-emotional decisions about things. Not that there's really any non-emotional context in that process, but it's very difficult. I mean, as an engineer, I like to think there is, but really, when you look at statistics, it's all based on emotional gut feelings in the end. And after the system has been brainwashed this way, it's horrifically difficult to make good choices. And that's what we hear about today, is looking at some of these simple ways that you can improve your health and keep life living in your body and with your friends and family, and move on in life and have joy. But when you do get sick, and if you do go into this system, these are the statistics. This is the stuff that we're up against. So if you are to go into hospital, you need to bring in somebody who's a friend and can act as an advisor to you. And that friend, hopefully you've trained, or they know these statistics so that they're really solid in what works and what doesn't work, and you make sure that they can hold your hand and safeguard you from the system. Yeah. Now, in acute situations, for emergency situations, American surgery is probably one of the best on the planet. But for chronic situations, it's literally one of the worst, and we'll get to that in a moment. So these preventable mistakes account for 1/6 of all annual deaths in the United States. And that's Dr. McCullough. 1/6 are preventable. Now, let's have a look at what's happening around the planet. In other countries, the U.S. spends, now catch this is unbelievable. The U.S. spends more on healthcare than the 10 biggest spenders combined. So all of the medical stuff that's done in Japan, Germany, France, China, and the UK, Italy, Canada, Brazil, Spain, and Australia. We spend more on our healthcare, on our population of, 300 million, compared to Japan, Germany, France, China, UK. How many millions are you looking at there? Are you looking at 1 billion or something in China? Italy, Canada. So if we take China out, we've got over 200, 300, 400, 500 million at least there, and we spend more on it than all of those people combined. That's a huge indicator. So even if you look at the statistics before and don't get it, look at this one. And if the U.S. killer system healthcare was a country, it would be the 6th largest economy on the entire planet. I.e., if I think that speaks for itself, but if you look at the economic cash flow of different countries on the planet, then it would be the 6th largest economy, the 6th largest spender on the entire planet, just on our medical care in the U.S. So what's wrong with this system? Quite a bit. The U.S., and I laugh, and I guess I'm nervous about this because I'm just in shock that this can be this can be like it is, and the U.S. ranks last. The U.S. ranks last in healthcare and mortality when compared to 17 other developed nations. The American medical system is an unmitigated failure at treating chronic illness. So what are we going to do about this? Well, I have one little solution, but here's another one that's kind of like the bigger the lie, the more easily it is believed. And we're seeing this in politics. And, have you noticed how the corporatized federal government names their legislations? The name is typically the opposite of the results. Just look at, quote, the Patriot Act or the Free Trade Act agreements or for confirmation. The bigger the lie, the more easily it is believed, Dr. McCullough. And this is where the system has got to. And, with the government shut down now, basically, personally, I would like to see it shut down permanently until we can start to bring in the right people that are going to really steer this country. And it's not that, I don't want to see this death going on. I don't want to see this machine going, this medical system, my kids growing up into this medical system. Personally, in my own little family unit, but let alone when you map this out to your families and your children and your grandchildren, it's like, what are we going to do? Well, I think the answer is you vote with your money, and you stop. The medical insurance ain't the way to go, and we've got this Obamacare that's now in force, and I believe, from what I've read, that it's not going to get any better. In fact, it's going to get a lot worse. But here's the thing about consciousness and choices, is that as this gets worse, more people wake up and more people make better choices in their life. And that's what it really is about. And so I believe, like in therapy, that the recovery is there possible, and the deeper one goes into the addiction, once you get through acknowledging that and admitting to that, then the huge recovery comes out of it, because the body has been so suppressed in the addiction that when it begins to purge out, it begins to change. And there's a new movie that just came out, and I strongly recommend you go see one of the screenings. It's free online right now, and it's called Sacred Science. And actually, we had a group of friends over the other night, and it was about a doctor took 8 people down into the rainforest in the Amazon, and they were put through a month-long ordeal, as it were, but they were treated with the natural herbs and potions that the shamans gave them in the jungle there. And also, there was a lot of the emotional healing going on as well, which of course is a huge part and parcel, is all linked together with the healing. And it's a wonderful movie. It's nicely edited. It's a good pace. It's not the Hollywood rah-rah movie at all. And I'd highly recommend you get that. And if you go below and make a comment or connect into one of my lists later, you can. I'll send you a link to that too. So this very good ad that was from the Southeast Missouri Hospital. There's a better way to relieve back pain. Well, I don't know what the hospital is doing there personally, but I'm using this as an example, and I'm saying it's naturally with their body's own pharmacy. Now, here's what the situation is. Our bodies, as you know, have the amazing ability to heal themselves. It's self-replicating, etc., etc. So every day, all these cells come and go. The liver cells, they all die off, and new ones are being born all the time. The issue is, in the body, is to create the environment or maintain the environment that is a healthy environment in the body so that this can happen. So the body has its own pharmacy, its own pharmacopoeia of neuropeptides or peptides that will repair it. And you will see in a moment how there are ways that we can do this totally naturally. We don't actually need to even take the herbs or anything. The body can do it itself when it's excited that way. And that's how these electrical energizers that we're going to be talking about a little work. So again, yes, naturally, the body can heal itself naturally, and so if you're skeptical, and it comes in many shades, here's my story. I was in London in about 2002. I was living there actually for a couple of years, and I was introduced to the Electrical Energizers over a beer. And being an engineer, I had so many questions surged through me for many, many months, and it was like, how can these little electrical energizers do what they do? And if it does what it does, how can we, how does it not out mainstream? Come on, guys. I'm an engineer. Surely this thing should be out there. Aren't we all helping everybody else on the planet and trying to move forward? And sadly, we were operating this debt slavery system that, maybe it's changing, maybe it's not, but it's only, it was like this I was really skeptical, and but it was only after months of using the device, because they loaned me one, and that I really came across, I really began to see, but I didn't understand. I didn't have the data. And then one day I came across some 1980s. I came across it was like in a written text. Actually, it was in a class or something, and it was like, excuse me, how comes you didn't show me this right at the beginning? And they did these, in the 1980s, they did these Russian trials, and nobody seemed to really acknowledge that that's the basic data which we can move forward with and promote this work. And so that's where I really want to go to, is sharing that data again. I'm sorry, but this is going to be kind of like a repeat of last week's show, but I really want to drive this home, because it's like there is a solution, and don't burn out on it, on all of this data that I just gave you about the medical system. There is a solution. It works. And in those Russian clinical trials on 18,255 people, they achieved an 88.50% cure rate. Cure rate, if you can imagine that, on those 18,255 people. Now, below are some of the disease groups that they tested, but that's only, I think there were like 8 or 9 of them, but I don't really want to go into all of them. You can find this data on my page. It's all linked. It's all available at ebodyfusion.com. So let me spell that out to you. It's ebody, okay, start again. EBODY, F is in Frank, U, Susan, S is in Susan, fusion, ION.com. So it's ebodyfusion.com. And sorry I don't have it up on the screen here. I forgot to put it in. Not really good at promoting myself, but that's where you can see the data, and actually you can find more about this stuff. Also on YouTube, as I said before, there's a whole bunch of videos that I've been making over the years, and so that's really interesting information too. And if you go in there, go to YouTube, type in my name, Benedict Howard, or ebodyfusion.com, and you'll find my videos that have been posted up there. And so in the musculoskeletal group, the average cure rate was 90.4. The improvement rate was, I think it was over 99%. So what does that mean for you? Well, let me explain what it meant for me. As you may know, I do Ashtanga yoga, and one day, well, no, it wasn't just one day. I mean, there were a lot of things that happened. But one day I ripped a ligament deep in my back, and I was in excruciating pain that flared up, went down my leg, across my pelvis, and the lower back just seized right up. And actually, being the engineer, and I was already familiar with this stuff, I was able to cure it. And but in remarkably short time, it was like 12 days. And so that's the sort of thing that you can do with this, and I'm an expert in the musculoskeletal. in the diseases of the circulatory system. Now, this also pans out into the whole body, because don't forget, when we stimulate the body, the okay, I'm getting a message to check my internet connection. It may have dropped. Make sure I do this right, and type screen share back to my slides. So we got yeah, we went through the Russian clinical trials on 18,255 people. That's where we left off. So, you know, we can heal this body basically 3.5 times more quickly than normal. Now, that's assuming that the body has the reserve to heal in the first place, that 3 times. And it's especially applicable to when it's an acute, you know, like an injury that you get to right away. And that's the same in acupuncture too. And so we have like all of this. Okay, somebody's calling me and I haven't turned my phone down. Let's see. Okay, moving on here. So how do they work? You got they kill off the pathogens that cause the pain. They block the pain receptors like an anesthetic and produce endorphins. Now that's at the higher frequencies, but at they do the pain blocking. And there was a great article in Scientific American about 6 years ago talking exactly about how this works. And they repair the damage and rejuvenate tissues. That's because of, like we were talking about earlier, it's about restoring the body's pharmacopoeia, restoring and creating in the body and exciting the body to heal itself. And that's how it does these the rejuvenation. Yeah, I mean, the rejuvenation is extreme. I mean, it's like you can deal with all sorts of like disc repair, and it goes on and on and on. We'll talk about that in a moment. And the other nice thing about it is it re-educates the muscles. So if you've got muscle armoring, you can tweak all of those muscles, and they forget that memory, and so they're not cramped up, and they're pulling the body in different ways in alignment down the spine. And then lastly, they boost the immune system, and that, of course, is huge. So going to the next slide. So a little bit about me now. I've had 25 years of hands-on experience, and look at this device on the right. This is something that I created, when did this happen? 80s, late 80s? Yeah, it started in that form that you see there in the photograph. Actually, that's up in the rainforest here in Hawaii in the 80s. So that's like 93, 94, something like that. And I called this device the Dreamweaver because literally it takes you into dreamlike lucid states. And the whole white bed there, the whole table where you lie on that, is a vibroacoustic. It's rippling with patterns of music. And in a future show, we're going to talk about the sacred geometry. We're going to talk about cymatics. We're going to talk about the effect of music on the body in ways that most music therapists and people do not understand. It's not just about getting the music into the ears. I'll leave it at that. And so I've been a creator, and I created these environments and trained lots of people with them all around the planet. And I would still be working at it if I had more time. But for like the last 10 years or so, I dropped it because I got so interested and so absorbed in the electrical component of electrically healing the body. As I mentioned earlier in the show, this is really important. The electrical component is really important. And it's kind of like the male-female. The sound is the female, it's the vessel, it's the magnetic, and the electrical energizers, or the electricity that promotes the healing in the body too. And going on down, there's my kids, standing on the left and around on the right. They were here with me last summer. Boy, I'm very fortunate to have those guys in my life, and literally it's held me through really a lot of depression over what's been happening on the planet, and they've really helped me to see the light. And Oh my God, they've really helped me a lot. Thank you guys. So, so now I'm like 62 years old, and when I eat right, and even when I plug my microphone in, now we get a whole different. Was the microphone? Yeah. So when I eat right, I forgot to plug that in. There's so many things to do on these Hangouts. It's kind of complicated. My back pain is solved now. It's not only eating right. It's really about the exercise and keeping things subtle. And now I'm like 99% pain-free, which is extraordinary compared to where I was in my 30s, 40s, and 50s. And now we've got like 5 years of proven track record of helping others. So that's what I did, was like I got so good at doing this on myself, and then I started training others. And in future shows, I'll be talking more about the effects on that, and how I've helped people they've helped themselves, back to the empowerment issue. And this is the beauty of this technology, is you're not relying on other people's input. And the beauty is that it's very simple to use, and it does a whole range of different results. And you don't need to have a, quote, doctor to do this. In fact, you're better off if you have one of these in your own hands. But if you're a massage therapist, for instance, it's real an acupuncturist or a physiotherapist, and doctors too. I mean, I've trained doctors too. If you're one of those, this is an incredible tool to have in your life. And I'm going to be introducing, as I said, next week, some of the new technologies around this, so that we can I just want to do a double check on the sound, because we've having like different problems here, and double check the internet too, because we've been having different problems there. And it looks like I'm connected. Let me just double check a page over here. See that it loads. Excuse me, guys. This has been really frustrating today. The internet is up. Good. And back to the slideshow. Yeah, this is complicated. It's way more difficult. I used to do teleconferences. I'd pick up the phone and we'd talk for an hour and do all the trainings there. And, I'd have different people that were in training with me that come onto the calls, and it made it really simple. This high-tech stuff I've been trying to learn. And as you see, if you've looked at my past shows, you see that I've come from like working initially in my car, and then we got the satellite hooked up, and it's been flawless up to today. And so anyway, I've got to roll on here because I'm losing time, and I want to share with you this other stuff I've got to share. So, the benefits are this self-treatment and self-empowerment, and the wellness coaching, the program that I support you with all of these biofeedback energizers at home, have rebuilt the damage, and even, as you'll see, canceled back operations and joint replacements, saving the medical system tens of thousands of dollars. Now, it looks like, from what we were looking at before, is that the medical system doesn't really care about saving money. They just want to spend more. And there's a whole agenda going on there, which I believe is pretty transparent to most people, which I'm not going to go into here because it's off topic, let's say. So this is a case of my friend Dave. And if you watched my last show, excuse me because this is a repeat, but if this is new to you, he says nothing has ever worked as well. And the dear man is up and around now from being bedridden for 10 years. And if he gets an ache or whatever it is, he can shut it all down. And he can drive a car now. He's a benefit to his family. He's a little older than I am, and it was remarkable to have him and all of the other people in training, because everyone brings more to the table, everybody. And what actually came out of it was like 1,450 pages of case histories of working with people. So obviously we don't have time to do this, and I need to get off my butt and pull some other examples out for you. So it's like saving you thousands of dollars in precious time when you take care of yourself and get out of this nightmare healthcare system. Back to the empowerment. I can't overemphasize this enough. It's time we took our power back. You know, not only in this field, but in, you know, the diet stuff, the GMO stuff, the corporate stuff. We've got to do it. And maybe, and it looks to a lot of us that this is the reason why this is happening to us. We're understanding the issues. We're getting deeper and deeper into the legalities and the way that things have been perpetrated upon us in this debt slavery system that's operating. And so it's like putting the healing now, literally, the healing now is in your own hands. Even if you're a Reiki master, and I'm a triple Reiki master, I love Reiki. It's an amazing stuff, but I tell you, you can do it a lot more faster and quicker with these devices, and you don't need to go through the training. It's just about applying it. It's not about being initiated into some alternative therapy discipline. And so you've got it in your own hands. My kids use it. You know, you can give it to your children or share it with your family. Now, this is one of the things that we were talking about. There's 146 reversals in medical procedures, and this is one of them that the doctors don't know or won't tell you. And this pathogen stands for, it's a Greek word for generating pain. Duh. And it's the pathogens that excrete these acidic toxins into the body, and they're the #1 cause of pain. So if you have a damaged area, what happens is that the energy in that area goes lower, and because it's going lower, more of the pathogens can breed there. I'm getting my tongue all tied up. And the pathogens can breed there because it's an acidic environment. And so here we go. It's like, you know, it's about alkalizing your body and pH monitoring. And that is something I need to put it for a future show because it's so important. And I have been, for the last few months, actually experimenting with different pH meters. And I finally found a solution for that. And it's a really, really powerful way. It's one of the pH strips that we use, but it's a specific brand. The name of which doesn't come to me right now. And but it not only does the pH, but it tells you a lot about the blood and the urine, the proteins, and everything else, so that you can actually do a really interesting discovery on your body that way using those. I cannot emphasize enough the GMO crap that's out there, and so don't eat it. If you look at the European studies and the tumors on the animals and stuff that happen in like weeks of eating just a 10% diet of GMO, you will understand what this is about. You'll get the visuals on it. It's horrific. It's not just the tumors, it's the reproductive, it's everywhere. And actually the same applies to Wi-Fi and cell phones, and that will also be another future show, is about the cell phone radiation. And we talked about that, the electrical smog last week. So if you didn't catch that, towards the end of the show, probably the last 20 minutes, we talked about that as an extra topic. Exercise, as you know, is super important. If you're sat in your butt all day, guess what happens? The body doesn't move. It doesn't get the oxygen into those areas that would have got there if you were moving around, and so it doesn't flush out. It doesn't pump out the old toxins as easily. So you've got to do that exercise. And of course, you've got the you need good quality rest, and meditation is part of that. But good quality rest, and of course, the hydration, the water. The water is a very interesting topic as well. It's full of intrigue. I mean, water is a magical, magical substance. And if you've been following the early Russian work on crystals, of water crystals and thought forms in water crystals, and then later the Japanese work that was done there too, which became very popular across the planet, and thank goodness for that work. Water is super important, and to flush it all through. And it's interesting, in Japan, apparently the doctors prescribe that you drink water, and a whole lot of water, like first thing in the morning, like 20 ounces or something. And I've been doing that for maybe 6 months now, and my energy and it's really changed a lot of things for me. And now I find that the energy that I get from drinking water is kind of like a meal in itself. More on that in another show. So basically, you've got your circle there of optimizing your body for a maximum electrical efficiency. Now, the ionic minerals in this process, which is a new one, which I didn't have on the previous screen. So you got your detox, you got your exercise, you got no GMO, you got no unprocessed, no processed foods, or very little. You need your alkaline water, you need rest, meditation, but the ionic minerals provide the electrical stimulus. Now, the ionic minerals are absorbable life force minerals as compared to, say, salt, which is actually an inorganic mineral. So again, my case history a little bit. When I was 14, my dad said, "Don't go there, we're taking down the building." And of course, the little boy and me just climbed up this broken grubble, and the rest of the wall came down on my head. And of course, that was before chiropractic, was before, and it locked in. It actually seized up, what was it, C8, C9. Oh, sorry, T8, T1. Anyway, just below, in my upper back, it seized up 2 joints in there. And I was in pain forever from that. I mean, chronic pain. And by the age 50, as I said earlier, I learned about these electrical energizers, and I was really skeptical, as I said earlier. Now, skepticism is healthy, but as skepticism as a, you you need to move beyond that at some point. You need to get working with the stuff and take action. So, as I said before, I used it on myself, clients, and actually my wife was pregnant at that time, and I took the master training with Professor Rovenko, and which was great, but it was also very lacking. It was actually the professor's intellectual turf that's a lot of the reasons why this hasn't moved forward. And what I realized is that this really is something that you could do yourself and move forward with. And sorry if I'm rushing a bit. I'm a little, with the technical problems that we had a little earlier, I'm a little tight. So let me take a deep breath here and have a drink of water and reset. One moment, please. Yeah, I had a little idea that these shows could be so stressful. It's not just the preparing of the slides and everything else, which this time I got done in plenty of time, but yeah. Okay, so you've had time to read that through, but it's like I've taught people, all over the planet, and yeah. So let's move on here. Now, on YouTube, when you Google me, or go to YouTube and type my name in, Benedict Howard, or eBodyFusion.com, EBODYFUSION.com. That's eBrother ODYFU Susan ION.com. Type those in and you'll find a lot of different videos up there showing how they've used it. Now, the bottom picture right in the middle, that's my buddy Chris. And you can't really see this, which is probably a good thing, clearly, but you will on the YouTube video. He had third-degree burns down his right arm there, and that's what he's showing there. And I think that picture is from about day 6, 8, something like that. And but this is really where that incident changed my life and my attitude towards this. It really completely got rid of all of my skepticism, because for Chris there, he had third-degree burns in his arm, down his arm, and we got on it right away, and within 12 days, all of it had healed completely. The scabs were off, and what is even more remarkable is that there are no scars or any visual evidence that there had been burns there. If we hadn't taken that video, years later, I look at this now, and I suggest you do too. This is an extreme example of what is available. And so, Dr. David out of Florida, he really got it, and he really referred a lot of people to the site for the training that I provide. And so it's drug-free, non-invasive, no side effects. And this one was with Taz. Now, Taz has a radio show up in the Bay Area, and maybe you've heard her on that show, or you know her personally, and she really it's changed her life around for her. It just was like remarkable. She came when barely able to move without pain. I mean, she could not move without pain. And actually, she was slated for a hip replacement and I think also a knee replacement. And it was just amazing. And now look at her, 3 weeks into the program. And Russ, and this is huge, is the importance of the neuropeptides. And when you stimulate the whole of the body, you get the maximum pharmacopoeia, the body's pharmacy released. These are small little protein building blocks out of which all of the other proteins and hormones and everything are assimilated. And that's just by stimulating the body. It wasn't about taking any supplements or anything. It was just by stimulating the body. Now, so let's have a look. In the U.S., 212, it's estimated that the chronic pain is costing $635 billion annually. But as we know, we are really poor at managing chronic situations, and it may be even higher than that. Now, it's not saying that $635 billion gets the results. And the electrical energizers in those situations do. And it's a really powerful way of getting off the medical treadmill. So you've got your loss of earnings, you've got the hidden costs of changing lives, the alienation that occurs when you're in pain like that. And let's face it, take a look at how your life would be pain-free. How would that feel? How would it change things? Take a look at how empowering it would be if you were managing it yourself. Seemingly impossible. If you didn't know about this call, if you didn't know about this, this technology, you wouldn't know about this. And you can do this yourselves. It's simple. The body is a wonderful organism. And it wants to be healthy. It wants to be healed. So by eating the right foods, drinking the right waters, doing the exercise, taking the meditation, sitting quietly, getting good rest, and using these, you can go pain-free. Da-da! So, tell me, are you ready? If you want to, it's like you need to take care of yourself. and you can't keep on delegating it out to other people. So, are you ready to take care of yourself? Commit, trust, throw out the negativity, embrace the change. And by the way, folks that complain, make excuses, and don't need to take action and need not apply. I mean, as you know, why bother? And that's the sad thing. Few people well, actually, a lot of people, before I got myself really organized in the training, would buy the units from me, and they would sit on the shelf, and that's a tragedy in itself. So my guarantee is that if you do the homework and you do not see a big change in the first month, you'll get your money back. So what you get in this offer today, your own, now this is the ironic thing, FDA approved Energizer. These Energizers, or some of the manufacturers, have been FDA approved for pain management. Actually, it's more than managing pain, it's solving pain. But that's the classification in which they are in. Now, as we've looked at before, obviously a lot more is going on than just pain management. And so the neat thing is that two brands, the Avasia and actually one that there's two, but the Avasia is a better deal, is that you can get these things. They are FDA approved, and what that means for you is that if you can go to your pain doctor and he can write a script for this, so you can get your money back. How good is that? So when you get them from me, you take them the bill, you show them the receipt, and then you can go to your doctor and you can actually get Medicaid pays for these devices. Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing when we get this out to masses of people? And what you get is also my weekly Q&A hangouts. Now, it won't be this Monday show. Monday shows is more of a general show. I have very specific shows that will be adding in. You're welcome to join in on the Monday show, of course. And would love for you to comment below. And if you want to go live with me on the hangout, that would be wonderful too. And share with others the benefits of this. But the weekly Q&A hangouts are going to be in another time slot, and so that I can give you that one-on-one. So I have online instructional videos in a private members-only website, and I'm going to give you that membership for life, simply because that's the way it is. I don't want you to have ongoing expenses. It's not about this ongoing thing of like making residual income, which is the standard corporate model. I mean, the standard corporate model is at its extreme is our medical care of that model. It's a non-abundant model, and so you get membership to that site. It's a private membership. It's not available to the general public, but once you're in the training, you're in it for life. And that way you get that one-on-one support, and that occurs also. You know, the videos are in that. There's no commenting. There's no nothing on the site. I want to keep that clean, but because Facebook has grown into what Facebook has become, I have a private members only Facebook group, and you get membership to that for life too. So you're going to learn how to apply them. You're going to recognize different types of pain and apply the correct solutions for them. And especially, this is a whole brand new topic that's just emerging, is how electricity rebuilds damaged tissues. You know, the TENS units, the signal out of the TENS units was very inorganic to the body. In these units, they are an organic signal that mimics the signal coming down the nerve fibers from the brain. And you're going to learn how to monitor and adjust your pH to maximize the electrical stim effects. So all of that's included in the package. So it's like you get the thing and you learn how to use it. da-da, but you learn why you're using it in specific ways. And this is a whole new science that's emerging out of this. Actually, it was done in the past, but it's not out there. It's got forgotten. It's kind of like those reversals of those procedures. They dropped off the ones that worked, and they put in the ones that's going to make more money, and then they advertise these new ones that don't work either, and they're going to have all of those chronic and abusive side effects. The beauty of these devices is there are no detrimental side effects. And you're going to learn how to recognize and predict healing patterns as your body detoxes. Because as the body detoxes, it goes through a lot of stuff, as you can imagine. If you've been eating these toxic foods, if you've got your brain waves and your emotional patterns in a toxic way, then the body toxes out. And so you're going to become proficient at making educated wellness choices. And that, of course, not only for you, but your family and friends too. So everybody benefits. Are all welcome. It's all inclusive in the training I provide. And you're going to envision and implement small action steps to create a life beyond your pain. So this is really about getting into the goal situation where you can, see that there's a possibility for you in the future. And when you really embrace that, a lot of things will happen in the body's own chemistry too. So what's the cost? And, how do you really put a price on the pain? All the time that you go to the doctors or your practitioners and stuff, you're not going to waste your time on that. You're going to be able to do it at home. You're going to be able to put it on at night and just leave it on there. So what I supply is, and in the link that I'm going to give you in a moment, the link I'm going to give you in a moment, what I supply is the electrical energizer and this back probe. You see that thing with the two stainless steel balls there? Actually, that's on a handle, so you can reach around your back. And I'm going to link you in a moment to the 24-hour special page where you can buy this right now. And I've got some special offers with that too. So hang in there for a few more minutes, and I'll take questions at the end. So you get the lifetime membership to the training modules and weekly hangouts. Well, what's that worth? Actually, I don't know. I mean, it's actually worth, let's say $5,000, but actually it's probably worth way more than that. And you've got your private Facebook group access, so your questions are answered for life. And the final price is not going to be $10,000. It's not going to be $5,000, not $3,000, not even $2,000. So this is like you're getting rid of your pain. Basically, it's like having a hospital in your own hands, and you're going to able to the ongoing expense actually for you will be AA batteries. So let's have a look at this. So the cost of the device is like $1,200, and then the other costs with the back probe and stuff like that, it comes out at around $19.91, but your cost is only going to be $997 plus $35 shipping. But this offer is only valid for 24 hours. Now, the reason why I do that is not to make it difficult for you and blah blah blah. It's really from my end. I have to manage my time, and I'd rather not be taking orders all the week. I'd rather just put this out weekly. It's available to you weekly. Let's get on with this thing if you're ready to go. If you're not, have another look. I don't know if I'm going to be offering this price again. There may be other units that come on for sale. The manufacturer may have a sale on, and I'm going to be promoting that. But today, you're going to get a FDA-approved electrical stimulator. It's made by Avasia, and at that link, if you type that in, let's type that link in at the bottom in the comment section for anybody that's live on the call dial, and so it's smart URL 24 hours special or 24-hour special, And literally, I only hold it there for 24 hours. It comes down tomorrow morning around the same time, and that's going to be it for the week. And so if you're ready to take action, you're ready to come into the training, and you're ready to use this device for about 15 hours a week, I can guarantee you those results that we've been talking about. And if you're not happy after 30 days, you may return it, but just don't have any blemishes on it. Just make sure it doesn't get scratched. Take care of it. And on that page, you're going to actually get a 15, 16-minute video that shows you how to use it, shows you what you're going to get in your box. It's an unboxing video of the package when it arrives to you. But as a fast action bonus, for the first 5 people, they will get this free one-on-one call with me. And well, we can do it on a call or we can do it on a hangout. And that way, you know, I can talk with you and I can really understand you, and we can do this one-on-one. And so it's worth like $97 when you purchase this. Oh, forgot to change the date time there. And but it's October the 15th. That's tomorrow, Tuesday. And so that's when it expires. And that price is only $997 plus $35 shipping. Now that may seem a lot to people. And in next week's show, I'm going to introduce you a non-FDA approved unit that's available from outside the country. It takes about probably 3 or 4 weeks to get here. And that way we can, you know, you can see that it's a little cheaper. I will give you the same package deal. But it's a little less than that. But if you are in a medical situation where, you know, you're seeing a pain management doctor, he can script this to you and you will get your money back. Most insurance companies like Medicaid are paying for this, so that's a real miracle and for everybody. So take advantage of it now before the government cracks down and or shuts down and the medical system closes up. Take advantage of this. Get going with this right now. So get your pain back, the non-surgical path to pain-free living. Put a smile in your face, your family, and your friends. So again, if you want to call me, if you're having problems with that link, I'll send you an invoice and get you going. So aloha. I'm going to go back live now, if I can get there. Let's see. So screen share comes off. So it's cancel. And there we are live. Cool. Well, as you can see, the sun has come up and it's right here. Next week, I think we have a daylight savings time happening next week, but it will be still at 9 a.m. California time. So that way, keep it at the same time for most of the planet. Here in Hawaii, we don't change time, so it can get really confusing. So this is the unit that I'll have on special today. I don't know if we can see. Is that backwards? I can't tell. The screen here is like backwards. I don't. That's my. I don't know if you can read that properly or not. Does that show up on Del? Does that show up the writing on that one? Is it left to right or right to left when I hold this up on the screen? Can you read it? I'm just interested in this for future shows. Okay, you can't tell, huh? Or is it not clear enough? It's a mirror image. Huh, I wonder how we change that around. Well, evidently we have a little problem there. Anyway, let's put this on. And See, we can change that one around. Maybe that changes it. Whoops. Whoops. Yes. Oh, how interesting. Okay. So apparently you can reverse this. There we go. There's my kids. So that's the unit. This is the electrodes. This unit has a really nice electrode situation on it, and it's got a nice radius on it, so it's easy to use. You're going to be using a little, you'll be turning it on. Let me show you how you do that. Turn it on the side. Oh, maybe I don't have batteries in it. Oh my God, I'm not really ready for this, am I? Yes, I do. Why didn't it turn on? Oh, there we go. Okay, let me show you. Apparently it was on, but it shuts itself off after a little bit. So when I turn it on, we get that start up, and there's like a little beep. And this is the settings. You change the settings around. There's four. Whoops. This is a little back to front. So you change the settings on this little button there. And in the video, when you click on the link, the smart URL .it//24-hour special, you will see a video detailing this and the back probe that you get with this unit. So let's see. In the weeks to come, I will be introducing some other units. One is this Tenets PCM. This is out of Russia. Beautiful unit. Got a lot of settings on it, and I've just got, this is really amazing units. These are out of the Ukraine. This is the brand new ENOT 911, and if you want to find, this is the top on the planet. This is the top use. This is the top end use. Top end device. It's the most functional device. It's expensive. It comes in at just under $3,000. And I've had them program in a whole bunch of presets in there so that it makes it even easier to use. It comes in two forms. It has this electrode, which is on the end, which is great for working on other people. So if you're a therapist or a doctor, this would be the unit to use. It's not FDA approved. And I would recommend, this is another model, which is the 906. And I'd recommend that either of these units, if you get one, is to go with these rounded electrodes, not this. There we go. See the difference there. So they have two types of different electrode configurations. This one has a dial on it, which if I put the batteries in it, it has an LED display, so it makes it a lot easier to navigate. This one's really good too. And if you go to my site, enot911.com, let's see if I can put in a tagline there on my name. enot911.com. Let's see if that comes up. I'll take that off. But anyway, it's ENART, E-N-A-R-T. There we go, 911.com, appropriately named. And it's a real powerful unit. And I've been using the predecessor of this, the 911M, but we've put in a whole bunch new functions in there, or they've put in a whole bunch of new functions, and I also had them put in a quick start menu, which we'll go into in a future show. I haven't made an unboxing video on this. It just came in on Friday, so I'm going to be making an unboxing video on that. Here's another unit from the Tenets people in Russia. It's called the Tenets T. And it's a simpler unit. It's not as expensive as the PCM unit. Both of them are really, really good. And Lindy, maybe you could bring me over the two. When I started with this, I had one of the units out of, thank you, and the Zunans. I had this unit, which is made by a Rhythm, and this is the one that I learnt with back in '02, and it's a really powerful unit, but I don't like it as much as the other ones. And this one is the most economical unit you can imagine. If you're interested in this, let me know. It's actually made for animals as a veterinary use, but it has these electrodes, whoops, it has these rounded electrodes, which makes it very easy to apply it to the body. And so it has its advantages. It's really inexpensive, this one. I'm going to have a special on that next week. So aloha for now. My name is Benedict Howard. It's been a pleasure sharing this with you, and I'm going to go back to sharing the